Language Foundations Vocabulary Flashcards, helping you achieve understanding.
Mark with a brand or trademark. A distinctive characteristic or attribute. A formally registered symbol identifying the manufacturer or distributor of a product. Register the trademark of. The company trademarked their new gadget. A name given to a product or service. A symbol of disgrace or infamy. A piece of wood that has been burned or is burning. Mark with a brand or trademark. When this product is not branded, it sells for a lower price. To accuse or condemn or openly or formally or brand as disgraceful. Mark or expose as infamous. She was branded a loose woman. A cutting or thrusting weapon that has a long metal blade and a hilt with a handguard. A recognizable kind. There's a new brand of hero in the movies now. Burn with a branding iron to indicate ownership of animals. Identification mark on skin, made by burning. Mark with a brand or trademark. Give or assign a resource to a particular person or cause. I will earmark this money for your research. A distinctive characteristic or attribute. Identification mark on the ear of a domestic animal. A mark on an article of trade to indicate its origin and authenticity. A distinctive characteristic or attribute. A distinctive characteristic or attribute. Celebrate by some ceremony or observation. The citizens marked the anniversary of the revolution with a march and a parade. Insert punctuation marks into. Establish as the highest level or best performance. Assign a grade or rank to, according to one's evaluation. Mark homework. Remove from a list. A symbol of disgrace or infamy. And the Lord set a mark upon Cain. A visible indication made on a surface. Some previous reader had covered the pages with dozens of marks. A person who is gullible and easy to take advantage of. A number or letter indicating quality, especially of a student's performance. She made good marks in algebra. A perceptible indication of something not immediately apparent, as a visible clue that something has happened. Something that exactly succeeds in achieving its goal. Hit the mark. An indication of damage. Formerly the basic unit of money in Germany. A distinguishing symbol. The owner's mark was on all the sheep. Apostle and companion of St. Peter, assumed to be the author of the second gospel. To accuse or condemn or openly or formally or brand as disgraceful. A marking that consists of lines that cross each other. Make small marks into the surface of. A reference point to shoot at. His arrow hit the mark. The shortest of the four Gospels in the New Testament. Put a check mark on or near or next to. Mark off the units. Be a distinctive feature, attribute, or trait, sometimes in a very positive sense. Attach a tag or label to. Notice or perceive. Mark my words. Mark with a scar. Make underscoring marks. A written or printed symbol, as for punctuation. His answer was just a punctuation mark. Designate as if by a mark. This sign marks the border. Make or leave a mark on. The scouts marked the trail. The impression created by doing something unusual or extraordinary that people notice and remember. It was in London that he made his mark. A label written or printed on paper, cardboard, or plastic that is attached to something to indicate its owner, nature, price, etc. Go after with the intent to catch. A small piece of cloth or paper. Attach a tag or label to. A game in which one child chases the others. The one who is caught becomes the next chaser. A label associated with something for the purpose of identification. Semantic tags were attached in order to identify different meanings of the word. Provide with a name or nickname. Sports. The act of touching a player in a game, which changes their status in the game. Supply, blank verse or prose, with rhymes. Touch a player while he is holding the ball. Trade name of a company that produces musical recordings. The artists and repertoire department of a recording label is responsible for finding new talent. Pronounce judgment on. They labeled him unfit to work here. Attach a tag or label to. Label these bottles. A brief description given for purposes of identification. The label modern is applied to many different kinds of architecture. An identifying or descriptive marker that is attached to an object. A radioactive isotope that is used in a compound in order to trace the mechanism of a chemical reaction. Assign a label to. Designate with a label. These students were labeled, learning disabled. Distinguish, an element or atom, by using a radioactive isotope or an isotope of unusual mass for tracing through chemical reactions. Distinguish, as a compound or molecule, by introducing a labeled atom. A prominent attribute or aspect of something. Generosity is one of his best characteristics. Any measurable property of a device measured under closely specified conditions. A distinguishing quality. The integer part, positive or negative, of the representation of a logarithm. In the expression log 643 equals 2.808, the characteristic is 2. Typical or distinctive. Heard my friend's characteristic laugh. A distinguishing symbol. A writing implement for making a mark. Some conspicuous object used to distinguish or mark something. The buoys were markers for the channel. Evaluation of performance by assigning a grade or score. A distinguishing symbol. A pattern of marks. The act of making a visible mark on a surface. An official written record of names or events or transactions. A cash box with an adding machine to register transactions, used in shops to add up the bill. Indicate a certain reading, of gauges and instruments. Record in a public office or in a court of law. Be aware of. Did you register any change when I pressed the button? Have one's name listed as a candidate for several parties. A book in which names and transactions are listed. An air passage, usually in the floor or a wall of a room, for admitting or excluding heated air from the room. A regulator, as a sliding plate, for regulating the flow of air into a furnace or other heating device. Computer science. Memory device that is the part of computer memory that has a specific address and that is used to hold information of a specific kind. Enroll to vote. Register for an election. Enter into someone's consciousness. Did this event register in your parents' minds? Manipulate the registers of an organ. Music. The timbre that is characteristic of a certain range and manner of production of the human voice or of different pipe organ stops or of different musical instruments. Record in writing. Enter into a book of names or events or transactions. Send by registered mail. I'd like to register this letter. Show in one's face. Her surprise did not register. Record in a public office or in a court of law. File for divorce. A line of persons or things ranged one behind the other. File a formal charge against. Office furniture consisting of a container for keeping papers in order. A set of related records, either written or electronic, kept together. Place in a container for keeping records. A steel hand tool with small sharp teeth on some or all of its surfaces, used for smoothing wood or metal. Proceed in line. The students filed into the classroom. Smooth with a file. File one's fingernails. A distinctive nature, character, or type. A dish or dessert that is formed in or on a mold. A fungus that produces a superficial growth on various kinds of damp or decaying organic matter. Make something, usually for a specific function. Container into which liquid is poured to create a given shape when it hardens. Sculpture produced by molding. The process of becoming mildewed. Form by pouring, e.g., wax or hot metal, into a cast or mold. Form in clay, wax, etc. The distinctive form in which a thing is made. Loose soil rich in organic matter. A distinctive nature, character, or type. A leader in the mold of her predecessors. A dish or dessert that is formed in or on a mold. A lobster mold. A fungus that produces a superficial growth on various kinds of damp or decaying organic matter. Make something, usually for a specific function. She molded the rice balls carefully. Container into which liquid is poured to create a given shape when it hardens. Sculpture produced by molding. The process of becoming mildewed. Form by pouring, e.g., wax or hot metal, into a cast or mold. Form in clay, wax, etc. Shape or influence. Give direction to. Mold public opinion. The distinctive form in which a thing is made. Become moldy. Spoil due to humidity. The furniture molded in the old house. Loose soil rich in organic matter. Fit tightly, follow the contours of. The dress molds her beautiful figure. An alert and energetic person. A professional card player who makes a living by cheating at card games. A pen with indelible ink that will write on any surface. A shallow draft sailboat with a sharp prow, flat bottom, and triangular sail. Formerly used along the northern Atlantic coast of the United States. A company emblem or device. A company emblem or device. Aspirin coated with a substance capable of neutralizing acid, trade name bufferin.
Become our student and get access to effective and free educational materials. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to become a part of our growing YouTube community and to learn English effectively.